and serves as the official residence of the Maka. They were erected by King Ijimasu in 1095.
Now, just before you saw a short clip of that documentary, you witnessed a wonderful performance from a multi-talented young man, Steven. Great one there. Now, moving on from that, we've got Zainab Ado Bayero, a first-time filmmaker who had always been a movie buff and lover of literature. Now, born and raised in Kano, her documentary focusing on her father, the former Emir of Kano, seemed the natural progression, of course, if she wanted to get into the creative. It is great to have you. You are welcome.
Thank you so much.
What is the official title for the daughter of the Emir? Is there a name? Is there a title or something?
I,
Traditionally, is there?
Sometimes they refer to the Amia's daughters as fulani in the north.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, wonderful. It's great to
because
have you. You're welcome.
thank
And
you.
that's a good thing to talk about your family in documentary and all that. Now, just before you went into this, you tell us about growing up. How was growing up for you?
Growing up, I was just a normal girl
No,
raised by,
mom, are you really? No.
well,
Okay.
I was raised by my mom, who
Okay.
happens to be from Edo State.
Okay.
So I'm half house, half Fulani Hausa,
Hmm.
and half Edo.
Edo. Can you speak Edo or can you speak your
I
mom's language?
understand it.
Okay. How about? But can you speak Fulani?
No, Fulani, no.
Okay.
It's uh, it's a
All
really
right.
old language, and not everyone really speaks it.
All right.
But
Wonderful.
yeah,
So where did the inspiration come from to talk about your family? Why did you decide to do that?
I was brainstorming for some ideas for my first movie, and I had different ideas, but I decided with my mom that it would be great, to talk a little bit about my family history. The Fulani Caliphate has been existing for over 2 centuries now,
Yeah.
and it was founded by Usman Da Fodio, an Islamic scholar, revolutionary philosopher, and this amazing dynasty has stood the
Stood the
test
test
of
of
time.
time, exactly,
So
from a
it's
very
an
long time.
incredible story,
It
and
is, it is.
at its height, it was part of modern day Cameroon and Niger, but now it's basically the
All right.
caliphate in northern Nigeria.
Where did you source for material for your documentary?
In Kano, actually.
In Kano, actually,
Yeah.
you were there live on ground and all of that. Because,
Yes, yes.
yeah, that somebody put up a documentary, does at times facts can be skewed in documentaries as such. How much did you try to keep to the facts, as it were, while sourcing for material for this documentary?
Yeah, it's personal,
It is exactly, exactly, which
so
is
it was easy to make sure, the facts were real, and there wasn't any kind of, any kind of stuff that would be controversial or not the real story of what
of
happened.
what happened.
I really
Okay.
made sure of that. From books that were written about him, personal accounts of people talking about who
About
he was, and the museum, which was featured
featured
also.
there. How did you relate with the people? How was the experience having, because when you have to do the documentaries, you have to relate with people, they have to talk to you and all of that. How was the reception
It was
gathering information or gathering content for this
It
documentary?
was great. It was such a positive energy,
Oh,
because
okay.
like everyone was so glad that I was doing this for my dad's memory,
Oh, okay,
because
wonderful.
he was really admired and revered,
And all
in
of that.
the North. So, been the first time that someone was
putting this together.
putting this together after his demise.
His demise.
Was really like great.
So ultimately, this is a story of the family and his life. That's what you're trying to put.
It's primarily about him.
Okay, primarily about him.
Yeah.
What do you want people to take away from this documentary?
It's a story about history and culture of an incredible dynasty and ancient city in Nigeria. You know, Kano has always been an economic hub in the history of Africa.
Very true, very true.
And it's one of the oldest cities in Africa, even before, you know, Nigeria became Nigeria.
Yeah,
Kano
definitely,
has always
definitely.
been like a metropolitan and hotspot for traders, merchants all over the world, I would say. And there's a lot of architectural marvels, like, you know, the city walls and stuff like that. And I went a bit into that aspect in the documentary too, because you can't talk about him without talking about Kano. Because his reign and everything about he was born and raised to Kano, so we kind of explored that also. But it's also basically about his life and times, and it chronicles, you know, his journey from a prince, you know, raised in the palace, and a young man working up the corporate ladder before finally ascending the throne of his forefathers, and then being the longest reigning monarch in the history of Kano.
Oh, now I just know that. You spoke to some dignitaries, some past presidents and all of that. Was it easy getting across to these people and having them speak?
Actually, those were archival footage.
Okay, those were archival footages.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
which will make reference to the story that related to the story.
Yes,
Wonderful, that's a great job.
Yeah,
that means
thank
that you
you
did thorough job on being on doing that.
wasn't easy.
Moving forward, what next for you? I mean, this is landmark. This is something that would stand the test of time for me, because I think that it's telling a story of history. History, of course. Someone says that if you want to know, yes, if you want to know where people will go to, you have to look back to where they came from.
Exactly.
So, moving forward for you, are you going to focus just on documentaries? Would you want to go into filmmaking, fiction, and all of that? What's on the horizon for you?
I would definitely like to do more documentaries and definitely more movies, like you know, different kind of movies. I love thrillers. I love musicals.
Okay.
You know,
what's your favorite musical? Which one comes to mind?
Sound of Music.
Oh.
You
had to mention that one.
I grew up on it, so
the hills are alive. It is my. I grew up with Sound of Music also.
Yeah,
Sound of Music.
Julie Andrews was amazing.
So no one will ever beat that one. Even though Greatest Showman comes close, but it has to be Sound of Music.
Still the Sound of Music.
It has to be.
I love the Sound of Music. So yeah, this is just the beginning, and I can't wait to create more.
I also cannot wait. I'll be looking forward to what you'll be doing moving forward. Zainab, it was a pleasure talking to you. Quite soft-spoken. We'll see what you're doing and see you at the top.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's it. We'll take a time out now. Stay with us. There's more to come on show.